What's up, residents? Jacob here. We have another discussion video for you today, and by now you already know what it's going to be about. Raptors in the Jurassic series. Let's get to it. Raptors have always been in the Jurassic movies as obstacles of sorts for the main characters to overcome, but something changed in the beasts with the representation in Jurassic World. Now I want everyone to know that personally, I like all the Jurassic movies Raptors. I don't really look at any of them negatively, and whenever they come on the screen, I'm usually pretty happy to see it. But there are those who definitely have their own preferences with these dinosaurs. We stated how Blue and the new Raptors were considerably different than the other Raptors seen in the previous films. A whole bunch more experiments and other messed up engine stuff happened, which enabled these Raptors to be more controllable. Sure, okay. This was clearly in the intent to eventually use the outstanding new predators as weapons, but for reasons a seemingly large fraction of this series' fans and dinosaur lovers around the world have not been very accepting of the idea of trained raptors. A fair amount of raptorholics find these new trained, dare I say, tame raptors to be nowhere near as suspenseful and impactful as the traditional, more wild, animal-like raptors. To any who think this way, feel free to voice your opinion why. I would love to hear your reasons. In my own opinion, I feel like this sort of mindset about the raptors really comes from three separate things. The first and most obvious one is the CGI with these dinosaurs. Now, there's too much focus with the raptors. In the original films, you really, I'd say well over half the time that you see a raptor on the screen, it is a animatronic or a puppet, and it looks really real, and it looks, animal-like, and when it's not moving in particular, when it starts moving, you kind of see that it's more of a robot. But I'd say at least 98% of the time that the raptors are on the screen in Jurassic World, they are CGI. The second reason that I feel like people think this way is that the raptors are really hyperactive and they have a lot of emotions and facial features going on that animals don't normally have. Even the most friendly animals like dogs don't normally move with so much emotion and clear intent as they do with the raptors in Jurassic World, and then sometimes it really just comes off cartoony, especially with the CGI element involved. And lastly, this is the most important part to why I feel like people think this way. The raptors in the original trilogy were unpredictable, slimy bastards that seemed to always want to kill the cast at random and very terrifying encounters throughout the films. While the Raptor squad was always relatively under control and didn't get to be hunters except for one part in the film, you can really see how the suspense just goes a good bit down with that. But it's not all negative. Having trained raptors has some really cool parts as well. Obviously, the relationship that Owen and these raptors have is pretty freaking cool, and now especially with Blue. Seeing them work together, but yet there's still that fear, like Owen knows that he could lose his life at any moment. But still, he decides that he wants to work with them, and then they end up, working together like a pack. And you can't tell me you don't get a little pumped up when you see Blue and the other raptors helping the cast throughout the whole Jurassic World movie. And lastly, having these sort of trained raptors really sets up for an emotional impact, just like in the theory that I made, which you can check out, about how I really think that poor old Blue is going to heroically die in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I'll leave the link to that down below in the description. Another thing about trained raptors that will really get you is that it's not all entirely scientifically bullshit. There are plenty of stories and footage out there showcasing how some birds and even reptiles have formed fairly close bonds with their human owners, even as far as cuddling with them. Now, would they do this if they were big enough to eat you? I don't know. But this really does set up the possibility that raptors would very well have had the ability to form bonds of sorts with each other, and possibly even humans if they could. So the idea of semi-trained raptors isn't just sci-fi nonsense. With some years' work and all the enhancements that the Jurassic World raptors have had, it could very well be accurate to at least the fictional world of the Jurassic series. And maybe even our own world. But that is just one of those mysteries that will probably never be solved. For all its attempts, Jurassic World never quite hit the same level of suspense as the other films, and a ton of this has to do with the lack of wild raptor encounters that were always big events in the story of the other films. I don't know if more raptors will be in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but if they are, which would you rather see? Compare these two photos and tell me which one makes you feel the most uncomfortable, unsettling, the one that makes you want to run away the most. And hey, if you want to end up cuddling with one of them too, hey, that's all up to you. In the end, maybe it is a good thing that the old raptors are left in the past to further pay tribute to the original Jurassic films. But that really doesn't mean that we all have to feel very good about it. I mean, I'd love to see the old take on Raptors come back once again. If you like this type of video and want to see more, please like and subscribe, and I will get right on it, brothers and sisters. If you want to hear me and Clayton discuss more about the Raptors, make sure to check out the video I'm going to leave here at the end, where we talk about the CGI in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. If you are feeling like becoming a resident of DangerVille, welcome aboard. This has been Jacob. Peace out.